Hey, good afternoon to everybody. All right, welcome to this new episode of Hybrid Solution Diagnostics. Okay, so in this episode, we're going to take a full review and tear down of this hybrid starter generator that belongs to a Hyundai Ioniq hybrid. Also fits in the Kia Niro and also fits in the Hyundai Sonata hybrid, of course. So this piece of part over here, it's responsible to generate the power to fit the high voltage battery, and also it acts as a starter. So the engine starter is actually this component over here, which is attached by the drive belt on the front of the engine. A little different from the other hybrid system, but we're still gonna take a look because this part, I don't know what happened, but for some reason it's bad, and I want to make my research, see what happened, John. So if we want to take a look at it, stay tuned and we'll continue that. All right. Unfortunately, it's a little raining over here in the academy. As you can see, it's like a so what we're gonna do is I'm gonna wait a little while because I decided to come over here today and work on this piece of part, and it's nothing we can do. We gotta wait until the rain just pass and we will continue. But stay tuned in the video. This piece of part is gonna be very, very interesting. Take a look at it, all right? So we'll continue then. So the rain is kind of passing, and let's take a quick review and see what's going on in this piece of part. So we could compare this unit with the motor generator number one, all right? So let's call it like that. Okay, so remember that the motor generator number one, when we talk about hybrid, we talk about the electric motor responsible to start the vehicle and act also as the generator, all right? Now in this one, has nothing to do with the transmission, but in front of the engine, only connected by the drive belt, which is very interesting. But let's see what else we got over here. So we have some a power electronic controller over here, which I suppose this unit should have, I'm pretty sure, a temperature sensor. It also should have a resolver, but we're gonna open it and find out. We have the high voltage 3-phase connection, which I think is the very first thing we're gonna take apart. All right, take this cover to disconnect, and then we should be able to take these out. But look at those, interesting. We have a cooling system also. That means this generator produces a lot of heat. Very interested in. So let's continue and let's open it up. Okay, so we're definitely going to be aware of this. It says high voltage danger, right? And clearly it says carefully read and follow service manual instruction. Always wear insulated gloves and insulated tools. Remove ignition keys and 12-volt ground cable. Shut off the main switch and check voltage at high voltage terminal. Well, that is basically the safety protocol that you need to follow every time you're going to put your hands in any component that it's connected to the high voltage system. But in this case, we're not going to do that, obviously, because the part is totally disassembled. We know there's absolutely no high voltage. So let's open it up. First thing, I'm going to take this cover out, I suppose, to take out the high voltage connection over here. So let me continue. So taking out this cover, there's absolutely nothing here. It's just that the bus bars completely covered by the way, and but I suppose the unit should be disconnected from this cover area. So just let me take it out. Let's continue. So it was a little tricky because this is totally sealed with silicone. So once I got to open this cover, all right. So this gentleman over here, we know it's our resolver, which determines the position of the electric motor, the speed of rotation of the electric motor, and the direction of rotation of the electric motor. Okay, besides this, we have our ground. We have these two cables over here going directly to the to the wiring. Suppose this should be a temperature sensor. But this is interesting over here. For some reason, these two cables are black. I'm still not quite sure, but let me take it out and see what we find. All right, so we'll continue. I'm also going to uncover these cables, see if it's by chance anything wrong here. Okay, so we full discover the cables, and apparently physically I'm not seeing anything weird over here. But one thing, I took out the 3 screws from this resolver, and apparently it needs to set up in one specific position, the same thing as Toyota. So I suppose this is a factory setup position. So once you take it out, unless you mark it, but I'm still not sure. Let me see. Yeah, no, definitely. Now I'm trying to move with my fingers, and no, it's very hard. So I'm also going to take out these, the rotor over here. Take a look at it before we open the complete unit. And of course, I'm going to disconnect the main connector. Right. So let's continue. Okay, so once we finish to unscrew the 3 main cables, we are able now to completely take out the connection. All right. Suppose I'm going to take out this black unit too. All right, so let's continue. So once I took out the 2 little screws, we take out this mounting over here, and okay, let's see what. So this is just an insulated mounting, right, to secure the cable to the connecting rod. All right, it's some kind of hard plastic here to be insulated from ground. Okay, now let's continue. Let's see if we can open this now. So I was able to take out the resolver or position sensor. I also took up the little hub, which is attached right here on the main shaft with this little locker. Right, okay. And you can actually take this apart. Now this is not a magnet. This is not a magnet, so let's continue. Let's see if we can open it now. I found the issue, and we can say that we can make a service bulletin for preventing purposes on this generator. Now let's take a look. First of all, this component is not serviceable because it comes, the temperature sensor goes attached directly with absolutely no connection as I can see, as far as I can see. Let me see. No. To the wiring, the electric motor. So this is definitely, as I said, no serviceable component. But the issue is, okay, so we know that the cooling system, okay, look, enters, flows in one direction, then and goes out from the other side. The problem is right over here. See, all right. So we're talking about inside the electric motor. See all these black burning over here. Right. I also made a test with the coil, and the coil totally shorted inside. It's actually a little black inside some of the wiring. So inside this heat exchanger, it uses this type of O-ring seal. And take a look. Yes, exactly. Our suspicious is just a leak of coolant inside the high voltage electric motor. Of course, if you barely short this to ground just by having any liquid leak inside, of course the vehicle will never start. The vehicle, you will trigger a code, and of course it's totally flooded. So we can say that this motor is totally shorted to ground. Now what happened over here is that this electric motor had a blue, like a water base cheap piece of coolant. The coolant, I know the Hyundai original is a green one, and it's oil-based, very high quality. So this tiny little seal is the only responsible one to avoid that the coolant enters the electric motor. So simple. Cheap coolant and the very thin little oil ring. Totally failing. So because of that, the customer had to completely replace the electric motor. Yep, you sadly cannot repair it because this is definitely not serviceable. All right, guys, so I'm just gonna take it apart and we're gonna keep these components here in school, as I said, just for the course purposes. And well, hope you guys join us in the next video. So I'll see you then. Take care. Bye-bye. So one more thing, guys, before we finish the video, and do not use, if you are owner of Hyundai Ioniq, Kia Niro, Hyundai Sonata that use the hybrid starter motor generator, do not use the cheap coolant, because the cheap coolant from the hybrid system, it corrodes and damages the very thin little seal, and it causes, of course, damage to the electric motor because it's totally shorted to ground. So if you want to avoid that, use the original coolant and change it often. All right, so that's my message on this. I hope you guys like it, and I'm just gonna assemble and keep this for school purposes. So you guys take care. I'll see you then.